Kibbe and Finnegan Show, episode number 47, on a cold and rainy October morning. Here?
Not in my hood.
Is it hot and sunny?
A little sweaty here.
Oh no, here it's cold and rainy. Very cold. So dark, I turned the lights on, and I have used this wonderful sign. This sign, Michael Nardino, video editor, is blocking out the light of the window behind me because I'm not willing to put up the curtains.
What's on the other side of that sign? Is it something less ambiguous than the advertising that's on there now?
What's on the other side of it? Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, a pole that's holding it up.
No. I mean, like, if you flip the sign around, is it just white?
Yeah, it's just white.
Yeah.
Should I have done that?
I mean, I gotta be honest. It's very soothing. I like the clouds. Like the blue sky on the sign. It's rather nice. It really is. I say roll with it.
Coldwater Golf Links is this.
Here we go.
Hey, it's a link style golf course, Mike. It's a
really?
rarity.
They're not selling water?
No. They're selling a golf experience, link style, in Central Iowa, in view of the stadium of Iowa State University. Their head greenskeeper, this guy's named Rob, not me. He is amazing. He listens and watches, and I took this sign from the lobby. It was this or a sheet, right? So I needed something to block the window. So
it sounds like you know these folks, which means I feel compelled to critique what they got going on with that sign.
Okay.
As a man who has played golf on occasion, inebriated, admittedly, and poorly, very poorly, I'm confused. I'm unsure if that sign is selling me cold water or golf clubs or
I think they do sell golf clubs.
Sausage links. I mean,
They don't.
yeah.
They have food service there. I don't like. Sometimes I go over there and get a hot dog at lunch.
For you guys at home that can't see this, Rob's grabbed a sign from the hallway of his office building, thrown it up to block the light from the window so our video guy would be a little more happy with what he's got to work with. And it literally says these three words: Coldwater Golf Links. That's it. It doesn't say go there, buy this, we sell this, we offer this, you can do this. It says nothing but Coldwater Golf Links. And there is no golfing on the sign. There's no golf clubs, no golf balls, no green grass.
You just can't see it. Does that help? You probably can't see it.
Okay, so now I see some grass. What's at the bottom? What does it say there?
It is professionally designed and printed by Sign Pro.
Okay. So we're either buying signs from Sign Pro or
these are good
something
people
by
here.
Coldwater.
I want to stay in their good graces. Can we change topics? They've been very good to me. So, let's play a brand new.
I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to be so critical, but up your game, Jesus! What are you selling? Nobody knows. Come on.
This is a new game called. We're gonna distract Mike. Distract Mike with a shiny object.
It's very easy.
This game, Mike, is called I'm going to play you an obscure movie clip with a secondary character, and you're going to guess the movie. And I'm going to play as little as possible until you get it. And knowing you're going to get it very, very quickly here. So I have to find where I put the clip. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go.
I think all you need is a small taste of success, and you will find it.
Better off dead.
Damn it.
John Cusack.
Okay, can I just play the rest? Because I added in the next.
Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was going to be the greatest man alive. But now
That's the greatest launch of a Camaro from a garage ever.
That's probably my favorite Camaro of all time.
That one?
I'm not really a first-gen Camaro guy, but that one, and a lot of people dog the wheel setup on it. But, dude, that thing was rad, especially with the ski rack on top.
I found the car and the owner. So a guy who's as nutty about Hollywood cars as we are found this car. There was only one. It was one of the rare Hollywood productions that had one. There weren't like three to portray this car. He found it. It had been kind of beat up, but he restored it back to its on-screen persona, I guess you would say.
Let's back up because I don't know if everyone heard this, but so the movie is called Better Off Dead. Stars John Cusack, and it's hysterical. I mean, the amount of one-liners. Yeah, it's in our show intro, and the amount of one-liners that come out of this movie has greatly influenced my life completely.
Gee, Ricky, I'm sorry your mom blew up.
Yeah, I guess she won't be able to eat any spicy foods for a little while. And some of the people in that movie went on to great things. Like John Cusack's an amazing actor, right? Well, the guy who played Booger was also in Porky's.
Revenge of the Nerds, wasn't he?
Not Porky's.
No,
Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah, Revenge of the Nerds, yeah. He was in Revenge of the Nerds.
He was in Moonlight.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a great movie.
Oh, so obscure reference here. Captain Fuller from 21 Jump Street is the dude in the garbage truck that says, "Man, it's a damn shame when white folks be throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that." Because there's a part of this movie where John Cusack tries to commit suicide. He jumps off a bridge and falls in the garbage truck. And so Captain Fuller is not the garbage man. He's working on a light pole or something. And the garbage truck goes by when he utters, it's a shame when folks be throwing away a perfectly good white boy like
Cusack
that.
goes by and gives the old wave out of the garbage truck. That might have to make the top of the list of the next movie insert that we review.
Oh yeah, let's do that one. Let's just bump that right to the top.
Okay, because it is one of the few movies that you can watch that while it does get a little dated, it never goes out of style. I put that right up there with like Airplane. Something I could immediately enjoy and love just as much as I did the last time.
Yeah, if it's on, I stop what I'm doing. I watch it.
Okay, so
like baseball.
We'll do this movie and tell people more about it. But this Camaro was the owner of that car. I tried to get as like one of my very first guests when I launched the muscle car place in 2009. I never got him. He didn't want any limelight. He didn't want to be known. He wanted to be left alone. He restored the car though, and for a time he had an amazing website called betteroffdeadcamaro.com.
I saw it back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's gone now.
Oh, bummer.
The whole website. It was a great website too, like really well done. But he restored this car back to its screen status, including like the Mr. Gasket 14-inch chrome, 3-inch element air clean, all of it. And it was just a 67 Camaro with the RS package and a 350 in it. That's it.
And I think it had Corvette rallies on it.
On the back, it sure did, because those were 15s with the stagger on the back.
Yeah.
And it's great. It was not a power window car, even though Cusack puts the window down with the tint so perfect. Like when he pulls up with the shades.
When he's racing the Asian guy who thinks he's Howard Cosell.
Lane Meyer, an amazing racer, full of
truly a man among men. All right, we'll definitely review that. Let's do that.
I'm glad we have found yet another thing to love and enjoy together. On to some news.
It's not awkward at all. Okay.
On to some news. What are you doing here for the next 3 weeks? Are you going to film Roadkill and then Roadkill and then some more Roadkill?
Yeah, it's a whole lot of Roadkill with a side helping of SEMA. And then I basically get back in time for Thanksgiving. And then I'm home for a week for Thanksgiving and then throw my 55 back together, go to the PRI show in Indy first week of December.
Yeah.
And then come back again and then do more Roadkill. Like it's a lot of Roadkill. We normally do like 12, 13 episodes a year. And for a variety of reasons that, I'm not privy to, we're doing like 16 of them, I think, this year, so that we have the first couple ready for January 2018. So we're filming episodes ahead of time that we don't usually get to do. But it's also turning our lives upside down.
Yeah, that's going to be a full mix. Is this going to affect not only your marriage but our podcast marriage here?
Yeah.
Are you committing to the thing that makes money versus the thing that doesn't?
Are you saying my wife is a money grubbing?
No, Lord, no. I'm talking about your job. No, I don't want to say that at all.
For the record, baby, I don't agree with Rob's opinion of you. Okay.
She called me. All right, we're on the same page. No, really, we'll figure out a way to do this. It gets trickier.
Sadly, the podcast doesn't earn us any money at all. So when real work calls and says you have the opportunity to go make money, I kind of have to go do that.
Yes, we are making enough money now to pay for what we're doing, which is kind of a good thing.
Yeah, because for the first 2 years, it just cost us money to hang out on Skype.
But we're having fun.
Mm-hmm. Still here.
So tell me about this 55. Are you painting it?
Yeah, so I don't remember if we talked about this or not, but I took it to Hot Rod Drag Week.
We talked enough to know that somebody might paint it to make it look different at PRI. That's what I know.
Okay. So short recap. Took it to Drag Week, blew up the engine, and I was at a track called Gateway Motorsports Park, which is in St. Louis, and blew it up there, called my buddy Mike Cotton because he lives probably 20 miles away, and I needed a place to stash the car until I could get it home, because I blew it up on like the second day of Drag Week, and I didn't want to go home. I wanted to keep following along with the rest of the people that were racing Drag Week, so I left it with him, and then he's kind of been on me for several years to paint the car because it's got a vinyl wrap on it that's been on there for 3 or 4 years now, and it's just now starting to really peel off the car and look, not great. And so I'll admit, when I blew up the engine, this is the second time this summer I've broken engine in that car. I thought, I don't want to see this car for 6 months. Fine, get away from me. I'm going to leave it with you and paint it. And so I left it with him, and then the opportunity came along to display it at the Performance Racing Industry Show in Indianapolis on, like December 7th and 8th or something like that. And so it's going in the wirecare.com booth. And Wirecare is where I get almost everything I need to wire my stuff.
Plus the Mike Finnegan signature zip ties?
Right. So, yeah, so they were the ones that, had the great idea to go, dude, you love zip ties. We love zip ties. Let's make a Finnegan signature zip tie kit. And initially I was like, no, that's a really bad idea. But then I started finding out via them that there's all kinds of zip ties that I didn't know existed. Like, there's zip ties that you pull them tight, and normally you need to cut the tail off.
Yeah.
These zip ties have a metal blade in them, so you pull it tight, you twist the tail, and it cuts it flush.
You'd mentioned this before. I've never even seen such a thing.
Right. Neither had I.
Scientific voodoo that this can happen.
Right. And so that's an example of the zip ties I didn't know existed that are in this kit. There's several others I didn't even know were available. So that's where that kit came from. But yeah, so if you go to the PRI show, Blasphemy will be there with a new paint job. And it won't be radically different. What I will tell you is we're how a lot of the car is gold, like various aspects of it, like the grille and the exhaust. I'm going big with the gold.
Going big with the gold.
It'll still look like Blasphemy, but I'm going big with the gold. I like the gold.
Are you inverting the color scheme?
No. Well, no. Yeah. No. Yeah. I won't tell you. It'll be a surprise.
Well, you have gold teeth.
Well, who says I don't now?
No, you know what I mean. I want full grill.
You get me a gold grill for Christmas, I will rock it for a brief moment.
Sure. I think that can happen. That'd be cool. PRI show.
Wait. Real gold, not the kind that's going to turn my gums green, okay?
You didn't say that before.
I'm saying it now.
I guess that counts. Okay. PRI show is... I remember the first one I went to, and I didn't go to the PRI show for a few years. And compared to SEMA, it's like a mini SEMA, if you will, but far more legit from a business perspective. There are a lot less spectators in there. It's performance and racing industry. I kind of at times prefer it to the hubbub of SEMA. It's a very different atmosphere. It's more hardcore and less bling. Is that legit?
Oh, you nailed it, 100%. I mean, you're not going to find neon exhaust tips and tire chicks there. Whistle tips. These
are go fast parts and tools that make this industry possible. I held the door once for Brad Keselowski. He was looking for the bathroom.
Hey now.
Yeah.
You pat him on the go, good game, way to hustle. It's in there.
No, I didn't. I said it's that way, and you shouldn't go through this door. It's closed. And I left. I was looking at the back of his head, and I thought, oh, he's kind of balding like I am. That's interesting.
Do you think Keselowski's cool, or or is his reputation like on point?
I don't know. I have no idea what the real version of some of NASCAR celebrities, or even like I was telling you, maybe after the last show when we weren't recording, like even Richard Rawlings, who on camera is not a guy I would want to know.
Basically, we got these guys called Roadkill. A couple of dudes, they put out a little webisode. I think it's something that's like a TV show, but it's not because it's on the internet, and it's like 30 minutes or something like that. And they don't even build cars that I know of. Do they build cars?
Off camera, I've heard him speak on a few things, and I was kind of intrigued. Like, he was quiet, he was kind of kind, he was generous, he was really thoughtful. The woo wasn't there. Like, he was normal. So I don't know what Keselowski is.
Were you in church or something?
No, I was at, I think it was at SEMA. He was on the Velocity stage. You'll probably be doing this stuff now that it's all one big happy family. But he was on the Velocity stage just talking about a lot of the charity work that they do behind the scenes at the company that the show allows him to do. Stuff like that. It was just kind of thoughtful. He was also on the Gary Vaynerchuk podcast recently. But Keselowski, no, I have no idea. Tony Stewart, I think, is what you think he is. And Earnhardt's cool.
The problem with NASCAR and NHR drag racing, and I'm trying to think of who else, maybe tennis and baseball. You don't really seem to get people's real opinions in those venues because there's so much money on the line, and nobody can have a real opinion, and so it makes me wonder about some of those people. Like Earnhardt has the reputation of being really cool, but is he really cool? Who the hell knows? Unless you're hanging out at his house having a beer on a Saturday and there's no cameras around, you probably never know. Same goes with your buddy Rawlings.
Yeah, him. He's not my buddy. I think he's closer to your buddy.
Nah, not so much.
I'll bet when you guys get together, you just high five and it's all a big joke. Because off camera, Mike's a total hard ass, not like this.
Yeah, that's totally
what
happens. Sure,
you're very similar. You want to hear some unrelated Dukes of Hazzard news?
Sure.
John Schneider's former General Lee is heading to auction.
Again,
another one of them. And John Schneider built several General Lees. He called them Bose General Lee. And if on the roof, where it says General Lee, it said Bose General Lee. And that was what kind of made it special. This particular one, I'm just going to read from the news here. This General Lee was not featured in the show, but nonetheless has a storied history. After John Schneider built the car, it found its way to former NBA star Jalen Rose. It then underwent some changes. The roof flag was removed. The numbers were changed from 01 to 05, because that's Jalen Rose's number. And the script was changed from Bose General Lee to Long Boy, which is Jalen Rose's name. So it has now been converted back, and now it's going to auction. In 2015, it failed to sell at auction with a pre-auction estimate of over $200,000, and blah, blah, blah. It kind of went on and on.
$200,000.
That was the pre-estimate. I have pictures of this car. These very pictures were in a Craigslist scam about a month ago. I was sent this car. It was on several different Craigslist listings for $30,000. And I must have been sent it by 4 or 5 listeners for sure, but probably 20 other people saying, hey, Robert, this is your chance. Oh my gosh, have you seen this car? And I'm looking at all of it, and I finally zoomed in, and I could read Bose General Lee on the roof like, well, this is a scam. I don't know why somebody's doing this, but this is totally a scam. And it's interesting to see that this is finally heading to auction. I guess it's going to me. I don't know what auction it's going to, but it's out there. So if you want a John Schneider General Lee, you could get one.
I'm less interested in the car and more interested in Jalen Rose and why. Did you say it was Jalen Rose, right?
Yep.
Dude,
for sure.
So he's a badass basketball player. And for those of you who don't know, he was part of the Fab Five at Michigan. back in the early 90s. They were the ones that popularized, Weber and who else? I forget who else was on that team. But anyway, Jalen Rose is a badass player, and he's hilarious. Has his own podcast, has his own show on ESPN, the Jalen and Jacoby show. And I want to know, why buy a General Lee clone and then change the number and then change the name on the roof? Why not just build one to start with? Like, who's in his inner circle telling him that's a good idea?
I don't know.
And then why sell it afterwards?
I just sent you a
probably
link. Open that link. That is what the car looked like in his configuration.
There he is.
Yeah. No flag. The number's 05 and it says Long Boy, but it's definitely the same car.
So he dumped it for charity. That's cool.
And here's the...
Oh, the wheels are wrong.
Yeah, they changed the wheel to like some weird Mopar wheel. But anyway, that's going on in the world. So I'll be interested to see what it goes for. Because it was, I don't know if this was ever a screen car. One of John Schneider's actual General Lees was used in the second Hollywood Dukes of Hazzard reunion movie. But I don't know if it was this one. I'm sure Corndog would know for sure. Want to do one email and then a burning?
Sure.
Here's an email. This is from a British fan, Matt Taylor here. Matt says, "Hi guys, hope you are all well. Check out this little gem I have found on ye old British eBay."
Wait, there's a different version of eBay just for Britain?
There is.
Oh.
This is a Reliant Rialto 850. These are a classic British-made, and this one's dressed up like a General Lee. These are a classic British-made car, which, unlike others, don't rust, yet will keep your driveway or garage covered in a thick skin of fresh engine oil. It uses a motorcycle engine so that you could drive them at the age of 16, unlike our usual normal 17 to drive. It comes complete with a fiberglass shell and generally makes you the laughing stock of the town until you roll it due to very poor instability.
It's like a Robin. It's only got 3 wheels.
It's a 3-wheeler. Yep. It has the 2 rear wheels that are normal and 1 front center wheel to... It's a trike, basically. If you check
I've not seen it, but I heard Top Gear...
if you check out YouTube...
most of an episode rolling one.
For Jeremy Clarkson, he reviewed one and rolled it on every corner. So keep up the good work. Might hold Rob over until he gets a charger.
That's awesome. If it wasn't so far away, I would get that for you for like a gift. And then I would put a stereo in it that made actual engine noises, not the imitation
the motorcycle noise. Boy, that thing.
We did a lemons race on Roadkill, and we did the tail of the dragon, and somebody drove one of those down the tail of the dragon. It was great.
Really?
Yeah, it came in on a trailer. It was a weird deal. Some dude brought one, and it was on a trailer for lemons, and it was a lemons rally, not at a race course. It was a road rally. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how you get away with being in a lemons rally while you trailer your crap, but whatever. He gets to the start of Tail of the Dragon, and 3 or 4 people carried this thing off of the car trailer, set it on the ground, and then the guy ran Tail of the Dragon in it. And I didn't see it do it, but it would have been funny if it rolled in every corner.
I want to say one of these was in like the second Cars movie as like the French car that
I think you're right.
Helped him trade stuff. He was a thief.
Yeah, it might have been the tire shop or something.
Yeah,
or...
the bad guy. The bad guy. But, anyway, that was cool. Thanks for sending it in. Hey, Mike, do I have some great news for you?
Okay.
Yeah, this episode, once again, is sponsored by Greats. Heard of Greats? You should have heard of Greats by now. They are the makers, Mike, of all-time greats. Classic, stylish, and comfortable sneakers sold at a great price.
That's great.
That's great news. Did you know they're Brooklyn's first sneaker company?
Did not know that.
Did you know they sell all the greats? Classic styles, made for the best. Made the best for less.
That's really great.
Did you know they have a selection of men's and women's shoes?
No, I didn't.
Do you know they have versatile styles suitable for any occasion and tons of different colors and materials to choose from?
I know they're very high-end and great materials.
You're going to check out greats.com. Their best sellers include the all-leather Royale, not with cheese, lace-up, and Worcester slip-on. I have a pair of the all white Royales myself. I'm going to pick up another pair of, oh geez, I forgot the name, but they're black with white stripes. They're about $50. That's the pair I'm going to get next. But they are super cool, and they're sponsoring our show, and they're going to sponsor yet another show. And no, this is not the Royale with cheese shoe that I was referring to, although I may have a little sound clip for you when this commercial is done. But they're pretty sweet. Did you get a pair yet? I hope you did.
I did. I got the same ones you got. We could match if we were, in the same area code, walking next to each other.
Do you want to? We'll do a show at SEMA. You want to wear them?
No. Not when you're wearing them. I want to wear them. I just don't want to wear them next to you at the same time, because that might be weird.
I think
they're comfy, though. I'll say that much. Whatever they are made out of, very cushy.
It's an inch. I went and read up on the business model of this company, and they're taking a very unique approach. There's some other companies out there that have kind of knocked the world upside down in eyewear that have a similar business model. So I mean, these guys know what they're doing. So it's pretty cool. We do have a discount code that you can use on checkout. It'll get you 15% off of your first order. Go to greats.com, and when you check out, put in KAFS, and that will get you 15% off. Thank you again, Greats, for coming to join the show.
Cool.
And with that said,
You know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris?
They don't call it a quarter pounder with cheese?
Oh man, they got the metric system. They wouldn't know what the quarter pounder is.
And what do they call it?
They call it the Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
That's right.
What do they call a Big Mac?
Big Mac's a Big Mac, but they call it Le Big Mac.
Le Big Mac. What do they call a Whopper?
I don't know. I didn't go on a Burger King.
I like that movie. I haven't seen that for forever.
It's a great flick. Good soundtrack in that flick.
Oh yeah. Tarantino's red 64 Chevelle was what John Travolta was driving.
Really?
Yeah. That's really Quentin Tarantino's 64 Chevelle, and it was stolen after that movie, and he got it back like maybe last year or 2 years ago.
Wow, he just got it back.
Yeah. It's a kind of a cool story. Maybe we'll throw that in a review cycle at some point. A lot of F-bombs in there.
Oh God, yeah. I remember I first found out about that movie after hearing the soundtrack. One of my buddies who I was working with installing car stereos at Circuit City back in the day had the soundtrack, and I remember going, "Dude, this is dope."
Circuit City.
Yeah, we used to install car stereos in Laguna Hills, California, and which was like one of the busiest locations ever. And when I started working there, I had gone to a Circuit City to get a car alarm put in my mini truck. So I didn't even know how to install car stereos. And I don't know why, but they offered me a job, and then they trained me how to do this. And I went from not knowing how to do it to being really freaking fast at installing stuff. And to give you an idea of how good the crew at the Laguna Hills store was, I think a record was set the day after Christmas one year where we installed 106 head units or something at that location. And I don't think there was like 6 or 7 guys did 106 or 107.
Wow. So when you walked in the door and they saw greatness in you and said, "You look like somebody who we could not only train to do this like a monkey, but somebody who could engineer stuff."
But I think they were just desperate. Like, oh, here's a guy with 2 arms and 2 legs. Hire him.
No. You got to know which wire goes where. That's important.
I did not know that. Oh. I knew nothing back in the day.
I do remember you. Maybe this was in a show or maybe not, but you were starting to tell me different colors of wire in a GM harness to tell you which color speaker is which. Like one.
Yeah, from like 78 to like 91 or something. I remember. Like right rear, right front, left front. Like the front speakers, I think the right front is like dark gray and light gray, and the left front is like tan and gray. And then the right rear, I think, is dark blue, light blue, and the left rear is like dark green, light green. I remember random stuff about cars like that, but I can't remember what clothes I was wearing yesterday.
That's okay. Okay.
I'm sure I'm fine.
When you wear those shoes, wear Greats. You're Greats.
Okay.
Great people. How about a burning Bernie for you? It's been a while. Got yourself put together there. This is how it works. We're pro radio. We got to segue everything. slip in an
More.
advertiser.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Burning Questions with Bernie, back after an extensive tour of Europe, Scandinavia, and... No, wait a minute, that was the Blues Brothers. But we are back to answer the 3 most important questions in life. And those are your questions when you send them in to robert@themusclecarplace.com, robert@themusclecarplace.com. Today, we have an email question. This is from our good friend Jamie, who says he hopes all is well. Have a question for you. What's the go-to information source now on the web? Is it still forums or is it social media? If it's social media, which platform? He says, I know that forums were king years ago, but is that still the case? And then he says, thanks, keep up the good work and the witty banter. Well, you're welcome, Jamie, because the witty banter is kind of my idea. So then, what are your thoughts? Where do we go to stay up to date?
It's really broad. He didn't really give us a topic.
I'm assuming about automotive information.
Oh, not like milking a cow or something.
No, that would clearly be YouTube.
Got
it. So where do you go as a creator of information about automotive stuff? You know what? Let's niche it down and try to answer pretty honestly. So back in the day, forums were a good place to go to get really niche-y make and model specific stuff if that's what you were after. So, you can still go to dodgecharger.com and read through eons of old forum threads, and if you spend enough time there, you can learn stuff. But it's kind of a harder way to get your info. What do you do now? I mean, I know you're in the biz, but do you have a good recommendation?
It depends. If I need a visual, I just go straight to YouTube because there's probably a video about it,
Yeah.
But if it's just info, I just want to know something, Google every time, and then that will take me to the most relevant thing, whether it's a forum or a Facebook post. The Google algorithm is so good that it rarely steers wrong.
It's interesting you say that because I do the same thing. I'll Google it. If I need a visual, I'll watch the video, but I'll Google it. I would say 40-50% of the time, it's taking me to a forum thread. Mm-hmm. That's maybe older, but still very good, helpful information. ProTouring.com, I still do a segment with Larry Callahan, who owns that. That forum is still a big deal in that industry. It's interesting to me that forums still have a place, but today. The one thing that I'm getting overwhelmed by is video content like in a Facebook feed. Like, if you scroll through Facebook now, it's like every post or every other post is a snippet of video something. And that's kind of getting annoying to me.
That's Facebook's goal. Facebook rewards you for creating video content by showing it to more people. They do this, especially if it's live. Mm-hmm. If it's live video, they'll show it to more of your people.
That's ringing if you're hearing that, kids. A lot of it.
It's natural. It's good stuff. And Facebook has killed forums almost exclusively. Forums are dead. All the forums I used to go to, everybody is on a Facebook group now instead.
That's true. And the groups have replaced it. What forums did you go to? What were your kind of go-tos?
67 to 72 ChevyTrucks.com. I would go there for C10 stuff and the variants of that. They had 73 to 87 Chevy trucks as well. I'd go to the old hotboat.com forums back in the day, which later became the performanceboats.com forums, and that one's pretty much dead. You can go to, River Dave's Place is kind of the last bastion of, performance boating forums. But in general, everyone that I used to interact with everyone's on Facebook in a group because it's just so much faster. It's way easier to interface and upload a photo. The thing you miss about Facebook forums is finding all that archival information. It's just a pain in the ass. You end up going back to the old forums and looking at old info because it's easier to search and find and whatnot. But forums are just too slow. Like the Drag Week guys. There's a Drag Week forum, and I love going there. I check it almost every day just to see who's building what, who's doing what, and there used to be internet forums for that on the old hotrod.com website.
I remember
and
that.
The old bangshift.com website, and they're dead because we're all on Facebook now.
We used to when the muscle car place started. I went and took a bunch of courses and learned like how do you promote yourself on the internet, and the obvious stuff, but like the SEO component of it, like getting into the Google algorithm and making Google love you. Well, the way to do that back then, still probably today, is to put your link to your website on other websites that have more Google juice than you, that are more powerful, so that you get a backlink quality
Sponsor
reference.
a forum.
Sponsor a forum. So we'd put every single podcast out on the forums. And in fact, today we still do a few because they still have value for that. And we still do pick up a few new listeners doing that. That Google juice goes both ways. I get contacted at least once a week by some random company that wants to pay me $100 to put an article on my website for something. So last week was like gambling.com wanted to put an art like, no, I don't want to do gambling.com. But
yeah, and this is how pervasive Facebook is it's taking a bite out of Craigslist. Because right now, if I turn on my phone, the Facebook app, it's always there, and there's a notification that somebody's selling something within 40 miles of me. Oh, dude, what is that? All right, so I used to go to Craigslist every day. Just, I don't know, it was entertaining in addition to, hey, maybe there's something cool I need. Well, not need, want. But, and now, Facebook is screwing all that up for Craigslist because I belong to 10 different sales groups on Facebook for enclosed trailers and, racing parts and whatever else. At the time I was
several Mopar ones, thanks to Corndog, which are really good. And I will say every Saturday morning after I get donuts for the kids, I pull up Search Tempest and I search for chargers for about an hour. And
Search Tempest is dope.
Let's play question number 2 here.
Question number 2, ripped from the headlines. Vice President Mike Pence went to the ball game, got a hot dog, stood for the pledge, and then he was out of there when a couple of players took a knee. So, is the VP friend or foe to the NFL? And friend or foe to the rest of the NFL fans?
I don't know.
What's funny about that is, I think I read a quote by him where essentially that was leaving the game was his way of protesting, and he was protesting people who were protesting. And it's just like,
this is where we are.
Do you see the irony in this, sir? I mean, and whether you agree or not with what players in the NFL are doing, I really think there's more important things for our president and vice president to be focusing on right now. Like, nuclear war.
I would definitely tell you, in my opinion, there are a lot of things going on right now that are, smoke and mirrors to distract from maybe other more pressing topics. So, when it comes to protest, you have the right to protest in this country. You do. And what the NFL players are doing, whether you agree with it or not, is peaceful. I wouldn't do it. The national anthem is something I don't want to use as my protest vehicle. But they do have the right to do it. You can have your opinion one way or the other, but it's...
Well, here's what they're missing too, the NFL guys, is it's one thing for a group of average Joes, citizens, whatever, to get together and protest. That's not what's happening here. Really well-paid athletes are protesting, and
that's the rub.
It's not a good look, and the idea that they're not aware of that is really disturbing because, I'm not on their level at all, but I have some level of people knowing who I am thanks to Roadkill, right? Mm-hmm. Well, me protesting anything and getting involved in things that I don't have enough information to really have an accurate opinion on, especially like politics. If someone asks me about politics, it's like, dude, I barely have enough time to hang out with my wife, hang out with my kids, do my job, go racing, whatever it is. I'm really not the guy to be commenting on something so important as politics. I don't have enough information. I really don't. So these athletes
the
are
fact
pretty...
that you do that is good. It's kind of remarkable because a lot of people in the same position with as little information as you feel you have they'll protest right away. I'm in.
Right, and so you've got, athletes who, even if they came from a situation that wasn't great growing up, they are now making millions of dollars. Their lives have changed significantly. So it's fair to assume that they're slightly out of touch with
the common
average
man
people.
Or the common. Well, I'm out of my element in this one because, there are some rare stories where they are in touch with their community and they do have some feeling for it. But I don't dig it. I wish we had something else to talk about, frankly. The NFL commissioner has now issued a statement that says you need to stop doing this. And he's not a guy that a lot of people love, but I kind of am okay with him saying that. I mean, it's weird. Here we have college football, and the big thing was, are any of our star players going to make a statement? And the big thing you do in college is that the national anthem is played before the football team gets there. So that kind of.
Well, that's how it used to be with the NFL. The guys were in the locker room.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, those dudes were in the locker room up until, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. So, God, I don't know.
Oh, what was the post that you had to pull off, or that you chose to pull off of social media? Was it about
God!
or something,
So there's this comedian, Jim Jeffries, and he made this. There's a video about one of his shows, and he was talking about gun control, and he's just hysterical in general. If you like comedy with F-bombs, which I do. And so I saw this video. I'm like, dude, this is hilarious. Again, gun control, I don't have enough info to even comment on it. The video was just funny. And so I shared it because it came across my feed. And unfortunately, it was, 4 days after that Route 91 shootout in Vegas. And so the timing was bad, but nobody really focused on that. They jumped on what he was saying in the video, and they didn't agree with it, that he didn't have his facts right with regards to gun control and statistics. And so they jumped on that, and they just forgot about the comedy part of it, about what he was saying. Like, one of his points was that, when the Second Amendment was written, all we had were muskets, right? Mm-hmm. So go ahead, everybody have a musket. After you've shot it once, it takes so damn long to reload. You have time to think about what you're doing and maybe change your mind, And so he made a point about, times have changed. Now you don't have that. You're not playing with muskets. You've got an assault rifle. You just shoot it and shit happens, and you don't have time to really think through what you're doing, And so I don't know. Look for it online. It's hilarious, whether you're into guns or not, whether you're into the Second Amendment or not. It's a funny video, and sadly, I gave in. I took it down, and I didn't take it down because people were bashing me. I took it down because on my Facebook feed, it's full of so many people's politics already that I just skim over because I just don't want to, it's not why I go to Facebook. I go to Facebook to interact with my friends. And so this post on my own feed turned political, and I'm like, dude, this is not what my feed's for. I don't want to talk about politics. So if we're not going to talk about how funny the video is, then I'm just going to take it down.
Yeah, you
and
thought
I took
it was
it down.
Like a funny thing, and maybe there were some things in there that you agreed with, but like, hey, here's something funny, and because of the topic of the funny, it went sour, and maybe you were even getting comments from people that you thought you'd never get a bad comment from addressed to you, or I don't know.
There were literally people that were like, you just lost a fan, and I'm like, well, to be honest with you, if this is going to change your opinion of me that quickly, maybe we shouldn't be friends, I mean, this, we're on Facebook, we're allegedly friends, and if one video from a comedian makes you decide to not like me, like, hey, we've got bigger issues than that. And so my only beef with taking it down is that it made people think I had caved, and it wasn't about caving. It was about, I don't want to talk about politics on my Facebook feed, period. I want to talk about cars and family and friends and have fun, and that's not what I'm here for. So it's gone.
This is the longest burning we've ever had. Here's the third one.
And question number 3. And I believe I speak for everybody breathing and listening right now. Why don't we get Rutledge to be on the show? That'd break up the monotony a little bit.
Oh, that's the end of it.
I didn't know we were monotonous. That's funny.
At this point, 55 minutes in, yes.
I'm sure he would love to.
Rutledge is your buddy.
Are we recording at SEMA?
Yeah.
We are? Okay.
Yeah,
maybe we can get
somewhere.
I don't know how busy he is, but maybe if he's strolling by at the same time we're recording.
I'll leave that to you.
I'll ask him.
That would be great.
He's probably every bit as busy as you are, though, so getting him on here is going to be difficult. But there's a lot of people I'd love to get on here.
I think that would be fun, him especially. I've had him on one show a long time ago, and he was a lot like you, very good off the cuff, fun to be around, different beard, but still cool. Here's the close to Bernie. I'm sorry we suck at this, but yeah, we can get Rillage for you. Bernie's moving on. That's what's happening.
Okay then, while our two guests ponder how much money it would actually cost to get Rutledge Wood on the show, let me remind you that you can send your burning questions to Bernie through email in care of robert@themusclecarplace.com. That's robert@themusclecarplace.com. We will read them if we can read them, so handwriting is king. And good keystroke etiquette is keen, baby.
Dukes of Hazzard, right? Luckily for us, it's a good one. This is Season 3, Episode 8, titled Mrs. Rosco P. Coltrane. Original air date, December 12th, 1980. Written by Cy Rose. God rest his soul. I think this was the guy that was dead long before this was out. Directed by Jack Whitman. Mike, what is your Super Show summary review?
I'll begin with a question. Or two or three, I don't know. See how I'm feeling here.
Okay.
Question 1. What are the odds that two completely different sets of dirtbags would decide to rob a bank on the same day?
What are the odds?
Yeah, pretty good if you're in Hazzard County. And what are the odds that both crews would use the exact same scheme to pull off the heist? Telling you, had the lottery existed in Hazzard County in 1980, it would have been a great time to buy a lottery ticket because the odds of winning would have been off the chart. I love me a good made-for-TV movie plot, let me tell you. So this episode finds Rosco P. Coltrane corresponding with a pen pal of the female persuasion who unexpectedly pays him a visit. And as it turns out, she's not the woman she's made herself out to be via the love letters she sent to Rosco over the past 3 weeks.
No.
In fact,
No.
she aims to marry the poor sap, making the perfect diversion for her friends to rob the local depository. And by pure 80s TV magic, Boss Hogg unwittingly comes up with the exact same plan to rob his own bank during Roscoe's wedding, using a different set of thieves to pull off the heist, obviously.
Sure.
Right.
That'd be hilarious if he hired them.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Can you double cross a double cross? Is that a triple cross?
Yeah, there's a movie about that. Crisscross. That was a
I digress.
good little group there.
Make you want to jump. Anyway,
Pants backwards.
of course, the Dukes end up in the mix and proceed to catch the thieves, but not before crushing poor Roscoe's dreams of marrying the lovely Sue Ann. And this episode kicks ass for many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
First, we get to meet Mama Coltrane. And we learn Roscoe's middle name is Purvis. Okay?
Purvis.
The one thing about this episode that I really enjoyed, but also simultaneously cringe at, is that our hero car, the General Lee, spends most of this episode totally trashed.
Mm-hmm.
The result of being run off the road by Sue Ann's bank robbing buddies. The crash sends the General Lee on its lid, and though Cooter gets the car running again, it was pretty beat up from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not without its positives, right? Because through some really interesting camera angles, we get the best views of the interior and undercarriage we've had to date in this series. Yeah, we saw all kinds of stuff. And for that reason, and that reason alone, seeing Lee's undercarriage, I'm giving this 9 out of 10 county fair foot-long coins.
Perfect summary.
I'm leaving out the shenanigans too because I think you're going to cover that.
This was another great show. I have a lot on my plate right now, so I came in last night and started pulling clips. I had like 13 clips, and I was 10 minutes into the show. I was cracking up. I could not help it. It was so good. So here's a bunch of shenanigans here. So when the general flips its lid, the next scene is Wopat and Schneider climbing out of it. They're really climbing out of it.
When he unclicks the seatbelt, he falls down.
Bam! He hits the bow does. Getting into a car on its lid whether you're safe or not is still kind of got to be a scary thing, and they did it. So I thought that was cool alone. You're gonna see this this footage of the car flipping on its lid again in the Dukes of Hazzard reunion movie. Oh yeah, this is gonna happen. The bad guys in the reunion also drive a very similar black Ford. The bad guy, one of the bad guy buddies, is actor William Sanderson, better known as Larry from Newhart. Remember that guy? Or Newhart. Remember Larry, brother Daryl? Here, I got a clip.
Hi, I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl. That's my other brother Daryl.
That was such a good show. But yeah, that's Larry and Daryl and Daryl. The main bad guy is played by actor Reed Smith, who, like a lot of other Dukes of Hazzard guest stars, mysteriously died. Died in 2001.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. All I was thinking was, he kind of looks like Coy. Or Vance, whoever the blonde one was later on.
Coy.
Coy? Okay.
Yeah, Coy. The bad guy's Ford LTD turns into a Torino for a little while.
Oh, I didn't even spot that.
Yeah, during one of the chase scenes, it becomes a Torino. Like you said, we learn Roscoe's middle name is Purvis. We meet Roscoe's mother for the first and last time, but I love her. I pulled several clips just for her. She was played by actress Lucille Benson. She starred in a number of Hollywood productions over a very long career. In reality, she was only 12 years older than actor James Best.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
That is.
The padre in the car that they stop, the father and the nun, who are also in the car, just like the bad guys. I'm pretty sure that the father is stuntman Jack Gill. I think it's him. And I'm only doing this by what he looks like. But Jack Gill, of course, is the total bad mamma jamma who jumped the General Lee through the barn a few episodes ago. And he was the guy wearing the first bungee setup. I mean, he gets top cred from here on out. He's also like the stunt coordinator for all the Fast and Furious movies. Like he's done some great things. There are two scenes where Wopat or Schneider are paired up with a stunt double of their counterpart that are awesome. And the first one here is Schneider riding shotgun in the Jeep, and there's a stunt guy driving the Jeep, and it's shot from the back. And the stunt guy does a flying 90 in the Jeep, and you see John Schneider go, yeah, and he pats him on the back, and it's real. Like, he's like, he can't believe, wow, we just did a flying 90, like, on asphalt here. That was awesome.
Yeah, and the car didn't flip over. That was amazing.
We didn't flip. And then the second one is Wopat, the ramp that they had between the two buildings that they had to run across. Bo was a stunt guy, but Wopat was really the guy running across that. And I'm sure they had a big balloon down underneath him for safety or something like that, but he still did it. And that alone is an awesome thing. I've spent a lot of time on roofs as of late. It can be scary. And Wopat went and ran on that little plank. That was amazing. And I noticed at the end when Roscoe got punched out, I felt bad. I really was worried about him. I felt terrible. But the General Lee shenanigans in this one are top notch. And I have a feeling that the Charger that was used so many times in here might still be alive. This thing is like supercharger. So let me get into some of Corndog's notes, and then we're going to come back to this. So this is the Corndog Insider Car Show Analysis, brought to you by Corndog's good old-fashioned Pro Gilmore Girl soup du jour. It's the soups of the day. In the opening scene, you can clearly tell, this is Corndog's words here, you can clearly tell that Al Wyatt Jr. is driving the General Lee down the bumpy road. At the 220 mark, when Bo and Luke are run off the road and flip the General Lee, I never heard who the stunt driver was. If the jump looks familiar, then maybe you remember the popular General Lee poster that was sold back in the 1980s. This was the same jump, and he sent me a picture of that, and sure enough, it's the General Lee landing. This scene, though, was shot twice. The General Lee was not supposed to jump. It was supposed to hit the pipe ramp and flip over. Instead, on the first take, the car centered the pipe ramp, making it more like a typical jump, and it landed on its wheels, except with a harder impact. If you look at the screenshots on the car, you'll see that the center of the front valence panel is all caved in. When you compare this to the screenshots of the car that's flipping over, however, the center of the front valence panel is straight. There were two cars that did this stunt. Now, car number 1 that made that jump, this is Supercharger. This thing's going to come back. Since the camera cuts away between the car jumping and flipping, it was always hard to tell if this was done in only one shot. But if you recall, in a 97 reunion movie, they recycled the old footage from the same stunt. This time the footage was from a different angle and it was uncut. The footage used in the reunion was from the second attempt when the car actually flipped over. I've attached a couple screenshots of that. Notice the blue glass pack mufflers. These were commonly used on General Lee's. Okay, this Charger comes back time and time again. It's the car that pulls up in front of the courthouse. It's running and driving after it's been jumped. It's the car that then gets run into the back of the hay wagon, whatever that is. And then it comes back and does the courthouse scene again with the bad guys. This is a Charger that cannot be stopped. I have a feeling it's still out there today, serving humanity in some wonderful form. I digress. 440 mark. When Rosco walked into his office to see Sue Ann, notice that his door is labeled Rosco P. Coltrane, and Rosco is spelled with the letter E. This was a common mistake throughout the series. I forgot to mention in the last episode, but when Luke pulls up to Roscoe's house to get Flash, the camera zooms in on Roscoe's mailbox, and you can clearly see where the E had been removed. 8:54 mark, when Roscoe's mother brings him lunch, notice that the E is no longer on the door. 29:55 mark, when Bo and Luke pull up to the police station, you'll notice that this car is very beat up. Judging by the damage, this appears to be the same car that was jumped off the pipe ramp in the first attempt. For whatever reason, at the 30:52 mark, when the bad guys approach the car, it appears to have been switched out for a different car with even more damage, but this is the same car, same Supercharger, except the damage was from later on in the episode when Bo drove the car into the back of the flatbed truck. At the 45:15 mark, when Bo is driving Roscoe's police car, this car was really driven by Jack Gill. Attached are screenshots of the jump as well as some behind-the-scenes pictures. I'm telling you, man, the Charger in there, that thing's still alive. It's still out there fighting. It's still doing great things.
It's probably ferrying nuns from like one side of a canyon to another in some third world country.
Probably so. Why did the father have a nun with him?
None of your business.
Off the top, even. That was really good.